and what it will make of the speech. But this is a very brilliant topic.
Go ahead, Jimmy. You're live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Focus on Liberia, where we educate, promote, and inform. With us tonight is Anthony Gay and our brother Collison, Mana Swa Collison. We're going to be discussing the upcoming UN General Assembly. So let me allow my fellow panelists to introduce themselves. Collison?
Well, I'm Rashford Manaswa Collison, and your humbled and most pleasure studio guest today. I will be discussing with you some important issues relating to the upcoming visit of the President of Liberia and what it tends to bring to Liberia or what it does not bring to Liberia. I also currently support the ticket of the aspirant Joseph Yuma Boyka, and I hope to look forward to a very heated and extensive debate on this topic. Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Excellent. Anthony?
My name is Anthony Gay, and I'm glad I'm on this show tonight for all to have a very interesting discussion regarding the UNGA and what does it mean to us. Liberia is a founding member of the United Nations, and I'm glad we're here to discuss this particular topic prior to the president coming to the United States to be at the UNGA. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. So let's jump right in. As we know, on the beginning of September 18th, the United Nations will be holding their General Assembly, where many of the world leaders will assemble and discuss global issues. Okay, so it's been a little while since they've convened, and because the COVID restrained them from meeting, so they had to make virtual meetings. But the theme of this summit is rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity. All right. It is also going to be a checkpoint to see how well they have been implementing the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals that they had identified in their last meeting. Those goals range from no poverty, zero hunger, global health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, affordable clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequality, sustainable systems, cities and communities, climate action, and peace, justice, and strong institutions. Those are just a few. There were a total of 17 goals. So they're going to now, it's going to be a checkpoint. How far, how well have they done in implementing those goals they had adopted? Okay, so let's go ahead. Carlson, the General Assembly. We know people meet there every year, but what is? Do you think has been effective? What is the purpose, and has it been effective? Effective, you think?
I would say yes, to some extent. The General Assembly has never been, quote unquote, one of those regular boys' club or diplomatic fanfare club. It has always been a place where people go to reason to discuss global issues are affecting humanity. Whether the outcome has been fully achieved in terms of the different milestones the specialized agency have set or not, it's a different thing that we can look at for another day. But over the last 10 years or so, when the Millennium Development Goal was initiated, designed to help alleviate poverty, provide global security, manage financial issues in countries, developing countries, trade, and what have you. It was meant to provide an opportunity for third world countries to be able to achieve certain sustainable growth. Though the benchmark have been somehow difficult for some countries, especially those who probably still struggle with transparency, with accountability, but on the overall, there are good milestones, there are good indicators that if a country really wants to be on the path to development can embrace. Yes, you can say that the United Nations, Hospital Agency, all protocols and other goals she has set can be successful and have been successful in some countries around the world. So it's not 100%. There are other countries still struggling, but there are other countries that have been able to achieve that goal, very rapidly. So on the overall, I would say yes.
Mm-hmm. So the whole purpose is for we to have global cooperation toward things we have in common and identify what we want to do as a whole. And we've seen that usually it's led by heads of states, presidents, kings, queens, all high level personnel. Anthony, why do you think the presidents go there? Why their presence is key in these gatherings?
Unlike any other trip that the president takes around the world, the United Nations General Assembly is not a place that you should go just to merry-make. I mean, your country can benefit immensely if you seize the moment to lobby, network with other world leaders, make your point. I have been advocating and I've been wondering, how can the United Nations, of all places, Africa, the continent, have over 1 billion plus people, and there is not a single person from Africa on the United Nations Security Council. That have been my only pet peeve with the United Nations. However, but like Mr. Collinson mentioned about the MCC, the Millennium Challenge corporations, has been something that other countries have been seizing the moment. Even our neighboring country, Sierra Leone, has seized the moment to pass the requirement, and so they received that grant over 200 million each year was given to Sierra Leone. The last time Liberia was qualified, that was in 2015 when Madame Serif was then president, and her administration managed to meet the requirement and pass the MCC once in her 12 years. However, this current administration has failed, even though they padded the number. Inflation was up to like 37, 38%, almost 40%. And they padded the number down to almost 9 to 7%. But if you have a 7% inflation rate compared to Sierra Leone that have about 18% inflation rate, how come Sierra Leone passed the MCC challenge? And if you see the requirement of the MCC, that is, playing by the rules and having these things. So your economy has to be thriving, has to be in a position. It don't have to be best, but there are benchmarks that you have to meet. And with the challenges that the we administration have been facing, imagine extra $200+ million adding to your expenditure, your income each year. Five years, we're talking about $1 billion+, right? That's what we're talking about. Over $1 billion+ that the we administration did not make use of. So the United Nations General Assembly is a place, and Liberia, like I said in my opening statement, that Liberia is a founding member of the United Nations since 1945. This is not something that our country, need to take for granted. And the last time I saw, I heard people on Facebook having so many different podcasts around the place. Oh, the president did well. Oh, the president he reading better. Is that what we ought to be discussing? Is that the president trying to read better? Is that what we ought to be discussing? Or we should be saying, the president make key points that puts Liberia on the map, right? You go to this assembly not just to read paper, but to make an impact in the interest of your nation, on behalf of your country, making an impact on the global stage. Liberia has a natural rainforest, carbon emission, the whole climate change thing we're talking about today. Liberia can benefit because we have clean air. Our forest, we are not polluting the air, right? We are not polluting the air. How are we benefiting from carbon emission, CO2, my people? Are we just going to the United Nations because we want to take pictures with other world leaders? This is not about Kodak movement. This is not about photo op. This is about seizing the movement and putting your country on the map. We are not polluting the air. The Amazon of Brazil, they are benefiting because they have the largest rainforest in the world. But Liberia has the same forest type, condensed rainforest. We possess up to 46% of the rainforest in the entire West Africa. What are we doing with our forest? So for us to be here, and people, I was in New York, September 18, 2018, in a protest against George Weah. I had a placard because I knew this guy was coming down there just to have fun. It was not to put Liberia on the map. You don't go to the United Nations General Assembly to take pictures with people and come home. It costs the Liberian government a lot of money. Once you enter once you are an invitee and you enter the United States and you go into that particular event, there are Secret Service agents already assigned for you. They will take care of your entire stay. I saw the list, and we'll get to that. All these security forces are going to the president. Yeah. What are they going for? So again,
let's leave that for a little bit later as we get into
take the General Assembly, because president come to these places not just for that. Yeah, somebody that just to do. They advocate for the nation. They engage in specific topic. They bring along with them experts in different area of governmental sectors to discuss this. Because right after the General Assembly, there are pockets of meetings that can be taking place. And there where your experts now seize the moment to make the case, to present an agenda, to lobby for money, and all those different things. But each and every year, our president comes here and he goes back home. It was at the same General Assembly that Ellen made a case for Liberia. And it waived our debt. What has President we have achieved in his 5 years plus of being president of the Republic of Liberia? That is the question we ought to be asking. And what will be his agenda going forward? I want to yield back my time.
Okay, right. So you are 100% correct. This General Assembly allows countries a chance to to showcase their countries. It allows them the chance to bring forth a something that is an issue that they want the whole world to know about. It also allows them to report the progress they've made, so that it will encourage investors, encourage other cooperations within there. So it's a beautiful time now to go ahead and showcase your country, let people know that you're not playing around, that you're making progress. You're absolutely right, my brother Gabe. So, but let's look at the history of Liberian delegations attending the GA. Of recent, we see quite a number going. In your recollection, Brother Collison, do you remember the delegation used to be that large during Charlie King time? Do you remember? I think this year's delegation is about 64 personnel. Do we?
Well, we will say different times, different circumstances, different objectives, different purpose, different mission, different goals, different agenda, everything different. The population of Liberia has increased. Our GDP and our expenditure have increased. So if we were to look at it as a comparative terms of other different administrations, we will not be doing the we administration any justice.
Okay.
However, if we are to make our appearance on the world stage as a president of Liberia, whether he carried a delegation of 100 persons, 1,000 persons, people on that list, those delegates, must be people who can substantively represent Liberia and bring back home some of the crumbs. Even if we're not taking a whole loaf of bread off the table, the crumbs that is falling on the floor, to be able to bring back some of the crumbs to Liberia, that would be helpful. But if you present a list of 64 delegates, and not a single one, all right, tend to contribute towards the thematic discussion of the hashtag meeting that I have before in my hand. These are the deliberations after the president's speech. And tell me, for heaven's sake, where do we stand to benefit? So I do not want to say, well, the numbers of people attending General Assembly in previous administration should be the same number, because different times, different conditions, different things have occurred in the world, different needs. 50, 20 years ago, we're not discussing Millennium Development Goal, how can we get out of poverty. We're discussing how to pay, her debt. These framework are on sustainable development and global management. That if you are to take people on a trip, there must be people with the caliber, with the expertise, with the technical know-how, who know how to extract money from the donor community and bring back for the development of your people back home. As Anthony rightly said, check it out. Photo ops. Look at it. Look at the American Summit, what President Biden had with African leaders. Yes, Afro Summit. Look how much million, almost $320 million already took home. What they would take home was a photo op of President we are embodying. Zero. Photo op. So there is not an essence. Liberia is like any other developing country around the world. We need to tap into the resources the world is giving out to us to build our own potential so we can be, to some level, sufficient. What is our climate, as Anthony, beautifully presented. Brother, I don't know your background, but I was impressed because I'm doing my PhD in sustainable education. It's a lot of climate and environment. You so beautifully presented the issue. What do we get the benefit? But again, this is the president that the Liberian people elected into office. We so humbly respected the democratic view. And there's the same person the Liberian people are now asking that they do not want to see in office again. And they want to get him out. Because he had played with the Liberian people patience. He took the Liberian people willingness for granted. Leads to talking about the people being ungrateful in Bombay County. What an embarrassment. Who is the most ungrateful person? Came from nowhere, did nothing for the people. They made it the president. You cause them to go through the kind of misery and suffering they're going through right now. They said they were being ungrateful because they could not indulge their candidates for senatorial seat. So when you come back, you finish spending the money at the United Nations and you go back to Liberia and you carry nothing for them and they begin to tell you about it. Do you tell them that they're ungrateful again? President, we are. Beware the act of March.
Anyway, so let's recap a little bit. After when this General Assembly assembles, they will have the first 2 days where we will have all the leaders, the presidents, making their presentations. After that, there will be series of various committee meetings to discuss various things like climate change, like health, like education. And this is when the technocrats in those areas have a chance to participate. So what we're looking at, when we look at this list of delegates, let's examine it a little. We see that there are, let's see who all on that list. Let me try to put the list up. Dennis, if you can help me with the list, it would be good. Otherwise, okay, there we go. We see, of course, Mr. and Mrs. George Manawia on the list, heading the list. Then we see Honorable Edwin Snow Jr. and Honorable Zoe Emmanuel Peno, the two senators on that list. Then we see about 6 or 7 ministers, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, D. Maxwell Kimia, the Major General Daniel D. Ziaka of the Minister of National Defense, the Minister of Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Ledgerwood Rennie, the Minister of Commerce and Industry, Maween Deeks, Minister of State without Portfolio, Trocon Kui, of course, the Minister of Liberian Maritime Authority, Len Eugene Nangbe. And we see Jefferson Koji, Mayor of the city of Monrovia, Usman Bamba, who is the advisor to the president. And we even see Captain Moses Weaver. I'm not sure if he's going to be flying the presidential plane, but he's on there. chief of staff for the first lady, or for the first lady, and we see a couple of other protocol members and members part of the Ministry of Presidential Affairs, and we see about 24 EPS, law enforcement officer with the Executive Protection Service. On that list, for instance, they're going to be talking about TB. They're going to be talking about the healthcare, but we don't see the Minister of Health on there. They're going to be talking about financing and development, and the finance minister is not on there. They're going to be talking about climate, and
the EPA director is not there.
Yeah.
Wilson Tapa is not even on our list.
Yeah, Wilson Tapa is not there.
Yeah,
so
what
do you think is the logic
of EPM?
Anthony, looking at this list and looking at the various committees that are going to meet to discuss, do you think we'll have our requisite expertise there to make a meaningful contribution to those committees?
Listen, man, I'm disappointed with that list. I know many people on that list, they are just coming for charade, man. Let me begin with my own senator from Granger County, Zoe Manuel Penny. This is the man who was a representative for almost 18 years. Zero legislative accomplishment. He's a senator who does not speak on national issue on the Senate floor. I've been following him very closely. This is the guy who, even when he comes here, the Granger Association is the biggest Liberian-based association that has 22 chapters across the United States. More than ULA. I can beat my chest for that. And this is the man who is afraid to even have a town hall meeting with us. He's afraid, I'm saying, because I was on the phone, on a podcast one day, and he was on the phone with somebody, and I challenged him. Because I challenged him, he insulted the entire Granger Association in America. Because I challenged him. So this is the man you bring into the GA. What's he gonna say there? What's his impact gonna be? You're talking about climate change, and your director of EPA, Professor Wilson Tapa, is not on your delegation. What are we doing? I just mentioned CO2, right? Carbon emission. It is very paramount that Liberia seize the moment. Oh, iron ore price went down. Oh, investors not coming to the country. We are cleaning the air that other industrialized countries are polluting. Why are you using the opportunity to bring experts in the area that will make the case for Liberia? Part of the reason why people go to UNGA is the only singular opportunity that you have. More than 100 presidents across the globe in one room. That you can go walk across the aisle and meet this one, and meet this one, and meet this one. That's where you bring your best of the best. They start networking with people and connecting with people and start making the case. Then when you leave, you do a follow-up. What are you talking about? You think that party show that you got to come? Liberia went to the Japanese African Summit. And the reason why I mentioned him, I think Mr. Collins mentioned something about Sierra Leone walking away with $300 million from the Biden stuff. Yes, that's true. And the Japanese African Summit, they were giving each person 5 minutes to speak. Senator make the case, and they came back with zero. Ivory Coast got $1.3 billion contract. The Toyota vehicle that will be sold in West Africa now are being assembled in Ivory Coast. Right? They have an assembly plant now built in Ivory Coast by Toyota. The same way they're assembling Toyota vehicles in, I think, 3 or 4 different states in the United States. All the parts are made in Japan, and they just ship it to your country. All they have to do is just assemble them. That's job creation. That's opportunity. That's career path for other people. You go to those kind of summit and you walk home free. I mean, come on now. What are we paying you for? So You bring in a bunch of people that have no expertise in what expertise that Senator Snow has. What impact is he going to make at the UNGA? What impact Senator Zopenu has to make over there? What expertise does he have? Nothing. The man who barely graduated from high school anyway. This is the man we're talking about. Senator Zopenu. So, look at the list. You got a bunch of security on the list. They will provide you security. You think your Liberian security will take over the United States Secret Service? Absolutely not.
You mean that you ain't got that much security?
You ain't got that much security.
Yes.
In the city of New York, they have their own police. You only need at least 5 top guys of your team, security force, that will be around you. That's it. You don't need over 22. Oh, oh God. So that's the reason why. What do you prioritize? What are your objectives? What are you trying to achieve? What's the purpose of coming here? These are things you have to have. And are you bringing those technocrats who understand the subject matter, who will guide you along? Look, what makes a leader a good leader is identifying talents, building a team of individuals with expertise around you. Barack Obama didn't know everything. Barack Obama went for Bill Clinton, folks that work with Bill Clinton, retain the what's the name? The defense minister from George Bush. I mean, that's what he did. He built a team around him. That's why he was successful. You don't become successful just by you. If they're about me, all the folks that on the list that George we are buddies. That the people who can praise sing him, people who worship him, people who say, yeah, President, you're doing good, President, you're doing good. Those are folks he's bringing. He's not bringing people that say, hey, look, let's recalibrate. Let's take a step back. That retrospect, let's see what we're doing wrong. How can we make the necessary adjustment to keep it moving? Right? He's not bringing those people. Me, I'm not discouraged that Samuel was not brought. Samuel made so many different presentations, and smart economists, when they sit down, they listen to Samuel, they can be angry. Because even me, I'm not even an economist. Samuel lie about mobile money. He never understood how M-Pesa, the best mobile money company in the world from Kenya that was launched 2007, he didn't know why they are successful today. For mobile money to be successful, you must have access to liquidity. Our form of mobile money in the United States is cash out, is Apple Pay, is, what's the name? PayPal. Those are our type of mobile money. Why? Because once somebody sends you on Apple Pay, you have access to that cash right away. You can go to the ATM and use your card and withdraw that money. But Samuel 12 said, if I gave you this, your salary via mobile money, don't cash out. Hello, how many mobile money transaction places in Liberia? So the Oma way in Sano County, does she have a mobile money place that she can go buy or casao using mobile money that they're doing in Kenya? M-Pesa have about 38,000 kiosks across the country. When there were only 49 bank branches across the country, today, 38,000 M-Pesa kiosks. M stands for mobile. The Pesa is money in Swahili. So, you don't do research, you don't study things, and you tell people don't do this, don't do this. United Nations General Assembly is a golden opportunity for any country to seize the moment, to not work with world leaders, to make the case, to showcase your country, to lobby for resources, and do the follow-up. It's not a place to go take photo.
Thank you. So Collison.
Yes, sir.
What are your assessments of that list? Do you think that list will do us justice when it comes to representing Liberia in those crucial meetings that people will be having after the presidents leave?
Certainly not. Certainly not, because I go down on the top to bottom of the list. As far as my knowledge is concerned of everybody on the list here, the most seasoned Western educated person on this list might be the former, might be the defense minister, and also Mr. Legendary Rennie, by virtue of their own academic background that I can vouch for. All the other individuals here on this list here, they bring the credentials to the deliberation at the General Assembly. No credentials. And these two individuals who got some level of credentials on this list here, they are now within the technical area of the deliberation of the General Assembly. So as well, to they themselves, they are also an equivalent of zero when it comes to everything. So, as Anthony rightly said, there is a time that every person, every government sees the moment, sees the opportunity. What will you be doing after that one day of speaking for 5 minutes at the podium? What will you be doing? Is to get back on the plane, go to Miami, go to his house, and sit there, party, and drink and get drunk, and just talk things out of the ordinary? There are other people. I remember, maybe you might remember that poem. I was in the 5th grade. There was a literary poem we all studied in school. It says, "Not gold, but only men can make a nation great and strong. Men who will forsake all and understand will stand fast and suffer long. Brave men who walk while others sleep, who dare while others flies. They build a nation paid up steep and live high to the sky." When the other world leaders are at the United Nations, working hard overnight, I will be in Miami, sleeping, partying. When they break in the morning, they will ask ourselves, how Sierra Leone got money to build a quota road from Freetown to Monrovia, to Bow Side? How the Guinea had to build overhead pass bridges and road network? How the Ghana doing this? How Rwanda did this? How other countries are doing this? Because those leaders were not sleeping, they were not partying. They were making sure that whatever the cake that was brought on the table, they took the slide, carried back home. The last time I had the privilege to visit Sierra Leone, I passed by 3 toll gates. 3. Masiaka, number 10, and another one, I think, Poloka, somewhere around there. 3, 2,000 Leon. Entry and exit, 2,000 per car. Look how much revenue has been generated by Sierra Leone just by that road network she was able to develop. Alain, they are border connecting, Longue Airport with a regular bridge to mainland. Look how much revenue will come in. Because it's a bar road medicine. After 6 months, all the roads pour. You building roads that my back alley here is even bigger than. Once upon a time, it was better you should not even attach the off here away. Just to leave it just like that. Now it has become a death trap. So people go to this meeting here, they bring back results for the people. They bring back results. But we can't check the number of times that we have gone to these meetings here and came back with 0. So we got to start making mockery of government. We got to make sure that indeed that Mr. Weir has an exit of the power. So we can put back some sense into the community of nations so they can see that we mean business. Tony said it earlier. Being once upon a time signatory to the United Nations. And every specialized agency of the United Nations, we are also signatory. Look at the country today. We're supposed to be telling the United Nations what our brothers in Africa should be getting by right. We did it before. We took the colonial power to the National Court of Justice, to the League of Nations. Pleaded for independence for the country. We sue. We advocated for Africa. We should be at the table after we have gotten our own. So give our African brothers they deserve it. But right now we are begging. Sooner or later, the meeting is going to come. The meeting is going to be over. This list, nobody on this list has anything to contribute towards the high-stakes meeting. Nobody. But ask them right now. Ask them right now how much per dime they got in the pocket for this trip they are taking. You take so much money, come out of the country, and you're not carrying nothing back. You carry 10 times why you took from there, or even more. But the last thing I will tell you, maybe it's an opportunity for him to pay some of his lawyer servants, because a lot of the lower managers are still on the list here. Maybe they will not even go back. It's another thing too. We got to consider. Maybe you want to bring in here so they can have the share of staying here. Trust me, you'll hear in a few days from now, how many of them were abandoning the way they did it in Qatar, or how many of them will remain in the United States. You will hear it, Brother Eastman. You will hear it.
But who you think making this list, you know, and why? Well, I mean, how is this list? How is it getting funded? And who's making the list? What's the process?
Trust me. 90% of put him on the list here. President, we are himself to call them, and maybe Fidabone just develop the spreadsheet for it. He handpicked them. 90% he handpicked them. She only developed the spreadsheet for it. Nobody will go on the list here. If we are not comfortable, you be on the list. He's a man who is very passionate as to who he entertains in his space. That's the kind of person he is. If you're not one of the person that will praise him, sing a song,
you're not getting on that list.
You're not getting near him. You will not get near George Weah if not one of the people that will bootleg him. So 90%, he checked off on this. Because these are the people you want to see around here. Say, oh, Mr. President, you look good. I like your necktie. What kind of shoe you wearing? The other costume. These are the kind of things you like. Yeah.
You did well with his speech.
They were giving just that. How does that translate into development for Liberia? We got yet to know. But this is not the first trip. Check all the other trips. Zero was brought back to Liberia. Zero.
You know,
and
people don't
going to spend a whole lot of money.
Liberia. Huh?
Go ahead.
No, what I was going to say was, you know, they don't understand the importance of Liberia. Liberia was the country who was the last country to sign for Israel, the nation Israel today, to become a nation at the United Nations. And that signature was the last signature. Many other countries opposed Israel becoming a nation at that time. And Liberia sealed the deal for Israel. Today, Israel is not an ordinary country. It's part of the world superpower nations. For us to sit here and neglect this privilege that we have of being a founding member of the United Nations General Assembly, of the United Nations, is just a sad thing for us. Many people may overlook this. There's no event in the world that puts together over 50 plus head of states. The United Nations General Assembly brings over 100 presidents and prime ministers around the world in one room. No other event. Why wouldn't you seize the opportunity? Why wouldn't you put on your best game ever? You know, so the UNGA is not an ordinary place. This is the place that you can create opportunity for your country in so many different ways. Foreign exchange students going, students leaving your country, going to different country, learning, bringing back that knowledge to your country. Investors going to your country. People, innovation is taking over the world. Liberia can host. Big corporations don't want to pay corporate tax. They can build a call center in Liberia. They can build a data center in Liberia. They can do a whole lot of things in Liberia. All it takes is you networking with the right person, the right individual, carry on your experts that will present the case, make the case for Liberia. All the tailors sitting there right now in Liberia, sew your regular clothes. they can get big contract from these fabric company that manufacture that sew jeans, that all the dress shirts and all the different things. It can be made right in Liberia and shipped back to those various countries. But the number one thing you need in your country is reliable source of power. You can't function in the 21st century without electricity. You can't. Second thing, you can't function in this 21st century without technology. There is no industry today in any developed world, no sector, no profession without technology now. Talk about the medical field, talk about the military part, they've been having it. But we ran fiber to on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, the backbone network for the toll system, the state troopers, the construction, so that when something goes wrong, they know exactly the location of that area, because if the person is unconscious, they can give you the marker to say, oh, I'm as this and so marker this. It will pinpoint the vehicle so they can come and rescue you. People think far ahead. You're here coming to take pictures. So, I mean, this United Nations is not an ordinary place for people to get gun joke. But you will be surprised that all you're going to get from this, literally, you can predict what this president will do. What he didn't do in 5 years, is that what you're going to do tomorrow, in a few days, a few weeks from now on? I don't think so. And then looking at that list is even discouraging. Who are those people that are going to network for Liberia? President Weah is not that tired. So why can't you bring a team of individual? I think maybe CDC has something against people who have brains. Because for some reason, they got qualified individuals in that country. Even within his own government, they are not close to him. They suppress them. They denigrate them. Even when their own auditing team audited them, they took them to Ganta and disgraced them in our hall and make them to, say all kinds of things. And then they brought them back and said they reform your new team and they can reapply. An intelligent way of firing someone and say, oh, we dissolve your team, but you can reapply. If I can reapply, then why dissolve me? So that's the kind of president we have. Liberian, and this is the reason why this October 10th, I gotta be political now, because I read almost everyone on that platform. And since I have Mr. Collins in here, let him take a little heat from me. JB platform is a joke. Education have 4 sentences and nothing of any specificity in there. How are you going to address educational circumstances in Liberia? Are you going to focus on primary education, secondary education, or higher education? Nothing. They want to say education is something important of any nation and for development of the people. That's true. Everybody know that. So is that a 9th grade student that wrote that platform? You say tourism, you leave it blank. What kind of tourism? If you say tourism, that means we'll be looking at 5-star hotels. Do we have them? No. So are you going to do ecotourism? You ain't have ecotourism in your platform, so how are you going to do it? So even though we're talking about the United Nations General Assembly, but in few days, 40+ days from now on, people are going to be going to the pool. We want to replace the judgment. How do we do that? This same Joseph Yoma Boaka have been to the United Nations General Assembly represented Liberia, I think 2 or 3 times, if my recollection corrects me or set me right. Right? But his platform does not represent a statement. A person who's been working in government for decades. The platform is empty. Absolutely bleak. Why you have a platform like that? And so, I mean, the only person in this race who can outline and tell the Liberian people what he would do in the first 100 days, what he would do in the next 3 years, what he would do in the next 6 years, and how those things will be done, is one and only one person, Elizabeth Benedict of the CPP. And that is the reason why we need to have conversation like that, because our Liberian people need to understand that becoming a president or just replacing George Weah is just cannot cut it. You need an individual who has the experience, the technical know-how, and being able to build that team of individual who will execute and get the job done. Are you back my time?
Well, thank you for
Yeah,
using
I'm
that.
sure.
But before,
I'm sure, Mr. Wait, just before you come in, Mr. Collins, I'm sure you got a lot to rebut on that.
Can't wait.
But
yes,
let me just
Yes.
ask you this. So where do we go from here? I mean, these are opportunities, that we get to showcase ourselves. Where do we go from here? What do you think is the best?
there is something I think because being too late for Christmas. Sometimes I already left Liberia for the first 6 years. Maybe if President Weah can adopt a kind of a progressive attitude and leave behind a blueprint for his successor to walk, we can give you some credits. But I'm sure he's too busy, this juggling, that he will not have the time to do that. So where do we go from here? Is to change this current leadership we have in Liberia. Is where we go from here. I said it on your network before that whoever becomes president of Liberia, other than President Weah, that individual should tap into the ingenuity and the geniusness of the Liberian people across the globe. Bring people who will hit the ground running immediately on the first day. We do not want to bring people into office to begin to learn government, learn management, learn decision making as a way CDC officials going through the process of this trial and error they're going through. So what we'll go from here is to change the current dispensation and give us something else different. That's what we're asking the Liberian people. And we're asking that Joseph Yuma Burger is the way forward to doing that. It is one thing to ask for all these specific issues when it comes to showcasing your candidate. But it's another thing to demonstrate that by the political will and the testament. All right? Joe Yuma Burger served diligently for 12 years, a president that took Liberia out of debt. A president that embraced the Millennium Development Goals. He was an able driver along with that convoy of President Salif. It was the gay presidential administration in a tap on the back. Joe Yuma Burger was part of the administration that made that to happen. Now, I will entertain this debate with my brother on another day in the more detail and succinctness of the conversation, because today is about the G8 summit and the delegation. But I will tell him that when it comes to the specific, you want to get specific in terms of ABCDZ. When every issue on education is a challenge in Liberia, you cannot say, well, we have a tertiary institution in Liberia, it's good. Secondary is not good. And primary is horrible. Everywhere, from primary straight to tertiary, everything is horrible. These are the major challenges that we have. So, on Yuma Burger platform, as you succinctly read from the website, and you went over to see what you offered there, he said, we address every challenge with specific action plan.
It's vague.
It's not vague.
What does that mean?
Because every area of developing education, every other sector in the country, there must be addressed. And you can only address an issue if you have the data to show what exactly you're going to be articulating. I can be discussing about something that's already a success.
This man working government and he was last day.
I just went back to the last government he worked for. You're not going to tell me the presidential government under the Millennium Development push that alleviated debt for Liberia did not do well. You're not going to tell me that.
Well, but he said it's
opportunities. You're Kennedy, who you claim to have the most political weight. He chaired the CPP. He produced candidates for his party. He did not win any one of the seats by his popularity, by ingenuity. He called for entire suffering rally. You heard the putting less than 5,000 people in the street. That today Louis Brown is so embarrassed. He's so embarrassed. Less than 5,000 people. So, with all due respect, to Alexander Cummings, he has been successful in some part of his life. As I said, under the Barker administration, will tap into the resources of every minute Liberian who can bring some value to the administration. So what I will leave that for another day. As our host,
we're gonna invite you guys.
We'll come back and debate the issue of the two candidates.
We're gonna give you a chance to debate the issue.
But Mr. Ismail, give me 30 seconds, please, because he said
I will give you 30 seconds. You can have it in your closing. Let's try to wrap it up now. We've been talking about the General Assembly. An opportunity. Are we going to miss this opportunity? Is it still not late? Maybe somebody listening to our message, maybe that list will change. So your closing comments, Mr. Gay.
Yeah, before I close, let me use 30 seconds of my time. So he said Mr. Cummings led the CPP and Kennedy did not win. First of all, under the CPP structure, we placed Kennedy and we had the most success. And Mr. Cummings was the most successful chairman of the CPP. We won 6 Senate seats. That includes Darrell De La Rose and the Republican re-election. It was under Mr. Cummings' leadership that those things happened. Unlike Bwaka, who the CPP over to and everything's crumbled. Another thing, we tired suffering has more than 10,000 people. They didn't get 5,000 people. That is not true. However, it was not as big as Bring Our Money Back or the June 7 protest like the Heron Costa hosted. So don't come here and lecture us. Come here with your opinion. It's your opinion, and nobody cannot take it away from you. But your opinion are not facts. So I want to say, thank you for having me, Mr. Eastman, and it was a pleasure meeting you, Mr. Collison. And I'll be more than glad to take on the debate with you because I think I like your style. You don't dismiss people like Mr. Aliyu Kamara. You don't call people names because he disagree with you. But let me just say this: any day, anytime, anybody, even the Mo Ali, or because John Lobopa, he was on the very platform, he ran away from me. Mr. Jack can attest to that. Then John Lobopa ran away from me here. So let me say this: it was an impromptu invite, but I enjoyed the discussion here. It was a very great discussion about the United Nations General Assembly. I look forward to any debate, any day, anytime. Focus on Liberia or us because we're supposed to discuss the CPP platform and then they change it that day. So Mr. Deneja talked to Mr. Jerome Gibman. He cannot give no false impression. We invited people. But again, the UNGA is very important. It's not an ordinary place. People should take it very serious. People seize the opportunity at the UNGA to make the case for the country and that country benefit from it. It's not a place to bring girlfriend, boyfriend. It's not a place to come take pictures. This is the place that you can seize the opportunity because no other national assembly in the entire globe that will put more than 50 plus head of states and prime minister in one room. Only United Nations General Assembly does that. And this is the reason why when you come into this particular event, you need to come with people who has a game plan. The best of your nation. Bring them up. Even if the young, a person from the college, or I don't know why Liberia don't do that because all our country do that. They bring, college students alongside with them also on specific topic, just to showcase them, And so Liberia don't see the moment to do so. So I mean,
as I say, carpe diem, seize the moment. Very much. Carpe diem, Mr. Collison, your closing.
Yes, well, we will take this time to welcome President Weah once more to the United States and his entourage of delegates that are coming with him. And we'll only admonish him and the rest of the other delegates to know that this trip to the United States should bring results for Liberia. if you have nothing more left in your bone as a president, you have nothing more to leave with the Liberian people for a legacy, we'll ask that you seize this moment for Liberia. The people of Liberia deserve better than this. There was nothing wrong with it when they made a decision to elect you as their president. Give them the reason why they believe in you. If for any reason that you were unable, the annals of history will still record you as one of the presidents of Liberia. Take your honorable exit. Let the Liberian people have a better future. But if you're coming to this summit, to this General Assembly, it's for fanfare, then well, we are sorry. We want to hear on your press release something that you don't usually do or you have never done. When you return to the country to call a press conference to tell the Liberian people your deliberations, what we should expect. We have never heard it from you. We want to urge you this time around, leave this a legacy for Liberia. Come and make the call for Liberia and tell the Liberian people exactly what you were able to achieve when you go back to Liberia. We want to hear from you, President Weah. People deserve better. Leave them a legacy. Other than that, please take your exit. The country deserves better. And we will be following up. We'll be following up with you and your delegation. We'll sneak peek into every class that whole corner you go in, what you're doing there. And we'll tell the people exactly how you can spend the money. From the moment you board our charter flight to come to New York or to come to DC, just know that the satellite is on top of that plane, it's on yours. We will follow you every step of the way. So you have an obligation to us. We are taxpayers. It's our money you guys are coming to spend. Yeah, please make sure you take back 100-fold than what you took so that you can bring development to the country. That is my closing. Thank you so much.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this segment of Focus on Liberia. And as we always say, no matter where you are, no matter who, we are all Liberians. And we all want to see Liberia where it should be, take its rightful place among the nations of the world. We will bring you another episode again and inform you what we can do for our nation once more. With that, we close.